Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for another whiskey review. And today we are going to be talking about a certain whiskey here that has actually been following me around for years. Shout out to our whiskey friend Chris, who initially introduced me to the 100% wheat whiskey coming out of Frey Ranch. Now, originally, this was released as a seasonal 100 proof releases in 375s. And this past fall, they began coming out with this single grain series. So, once again, 100% wheat, but at cast strength and at a full, very heavy bottle. Oh my gosh, these Frey Ranch things, man. I could like work out with these. These things are nuts. If you've never seen a Frey Ranch, I mean, between the weight of the bottle due to that bottom and then the cork on the top, oh my gosh, it is so heavy. But we'll get into this one. I'm going to tell you how interesting this is and wheat whiskeys in general. If you haven't been checking these out, there have been so many good examples of wheat whiskeys over the last, 2-3 years. I'm excited for the category and excited for people to keep experimenting. You want to know why I'm excited? All right, stick around. Thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. Oops. Delay. So excited, I didn't even have my buttons ready. By the way, I do record most of these reviews pretty much as if they're lives. So with today, we got this Frey Ranch 100% wheater. It is 6 years old, 133 proof. So just like a lot of the other stuff coming out of Frey Ranch in Nevada, it's high proof. Now, main knock on this one is going to be the price. This one was $115. So this is a hefty bottle for essentially an experimental wheat whiskey, I guess in some ways, or a seasonal wheat whiskey. That'll be my main knock, but excited by the flavors and a lot of the unique, delicious aspects of this particular profile as we get into it. So we're going to go through the nose, the palate, into the finish. I'll tell you what I think about each of those experiences, and then we'll get into the final scores. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining me this far. Gosh, every time. Lit up the room, too, as soon as I poured it in there. It's like the butter at a movie theater. I get that note over and over and over again. It takes over the whole room. Right next to that, too, which is going to be a theme throughout this as well, butterscotch. It's melted butter and butterscotch. Over and over again, throw a bunch of butterscotch chips into a pot with butter, stir it, and just waft it in. And that's what this smells like. Now, there is a range behind that, so it's not just that. There are stone fruits, even drifting into some strawberries. So picture mostly, red-leaning fruits. And heck, you know what? Throw some popcorn in there too. I don't know if that makes any sense for a 100% wheat, but melted butter and the popcorn. All right. So that is essentially the nose and the profile there. And we're going to have a whole bunch of those consistent flavors as we go through this. Going to give the nose a thumbs up. Pretty fun nose. Let's get into the palate here. Mm. Oh, finish. Unrelenting. Standout quality immediately. It's going to be that mouthfeel. Oh, this is one you could chew on. So rich, so oily, and you just know it immediately, like putting, taking a little shot of melted butter. I'm just going to keep coming back to the melted butter thing. You get the melted butter, even up front on the palate, immediately with that butterscotch. Once again, the main notes there. Let's get into mid palate. So then getting into mid palate, looking at more of the melted butter with the butterscotch. Gosh, still getting some strawberries essentially mid palate and A little bit of floral notes too, and a lot more butterscotch. Butterscotch, 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 like butterscotch chips. All right. When it comes to the whole palate experience, then mostly held up by the mouthfeel. Obviously, you can hear me describing it. There's not too much depth to this thing. What it is doing is delicious, just not a lot of depth and complexity. One thumb up. One thumb up on the palate, too. Really good. All right. Let's get to the finish, which is unrelenting. I'm still tasting the finish now, but we'll go in for a fresh one. On the finish, you guessed it, butterscotch and melted butter. I mean, just throw those in a pot and just drink the dang thing. It's like the butterscotch chips too, particularly. I mean, if you're familiar with like the chocolate chips, but they're made of butterscotch, like that's the type of butterscotch I'm talking about. You can melt those over some butter, maybe dip things into them, dip the strawberries into them. You know what? I've never done that before. That could probably work. All right, that's an aside. Bit of floral notes as well, which is a key characteristic, I think, for Frey Ranch. I typically get that on their bourbons, especially the rye. And then waves of butterscotch, waves of butterscotch, waves of butterscotch, waves of butterscotch. Like literally every time I'm talking, it's bringing in air and it's just like running across my palate and just reigniting that butterscotch over and over and over again. Oh man, it's intense. All right, one last sip. Let's see if I get anything else. But as you can kind of see here, I mean, it is what it is. Butterscotch, melted butter, bit of strawberry, bit of floral. All right, see if I find anything else. Mm. Such an incredible mouthfeel. No, I think that's it for the most part. Oh man, so good too, so sweet. Mm. Even got like a little like candy corn aspect of it there on that one. So much interesting things going on there. Unique profile, fun pour, just a bit pricey. So in the end, this one did score an 84 out of 100, which essentially ranks it around 33 out of 85 reviews done thus far this year. So not a pour that's going to end up in my top 10, but a unique pour that is fun to share and fun to experience. You know, just a matter of if it's worth the price for you. So thank you for joining today, Whiskey Friends. Let me know if you've tried this, particularly at cast strength. If you've tried the other ones, let me know what you think of that as well when they're proof down to 100. And interested to know what other wheat whiskeys you've gotten into over the last year or so. Thank you for joining. We'll catch you on the next whiskey review. Goodbye, everybody.